And I would say that as a psychiatrist who worked for 12 years in college mental health, um, 7 years at Harvard and 5 years at Smith College in Massachusetts, up here in the US, um, I've worked with lots and lots and lots of students, many of whom prefer sort of high plant or low meat diets or vegan diets, in some cases even. And I have to say that while I have, I did not meet a single student eating a vegan diet who was in good physical or mental health. I'm also only seeing the ones who are coming to me for mental health problems. And I would also say that most of my students had poor health and poor diet, whether they were eating animals or not. So the problem is that the students on campus that I met, and I met many of them who were eating vegan or vegetarian diets, were eating the same junky version they were eating just as much junk as everybody else was. It just didn't have any animals in it. So I think, the culture of food on college campuses is atrocious. And so whether you're eating plants or animals, I think in my students mattered less than all of the junk that they were eating. I couldn't tell you, for example, if I had, how they say a whole foods plant-based diet is the best diet for this, that, and the other thing. My students weren't paying attention to the whole foods part of that statement. They were paying attention to the plant-based, and usually not for health reasons. I mean, most of my students were eating vegan or vegetarian diets for compassionate reasons. And so, and they just, because of the messaging that we receive about plant-based diets being healthier, they thought that, better health was just icing on the cake, not something to be sacrificed for their compassionate ideals. But I really do think that is what's happening. And I think that's really unfortunate. And it's really the young people, especially young women, who need to have better information about how these diets affect not only their health, but if they're planning to have children, the health of those children. So this is the most vulnerable population to nutrient deficiencies, are pregnant women and developing children. So this is where you don't want to miss out on a single nutrient, not even for a minute.
Yeah.
So during brain development, there are steps there that you may never get a chance to correct. So I think that one of the reasons I wrote this book, and there's a chapter in the book called The Plant-Based Brain, which explains exactly what happens if you don't have animal foods in the diet when the brain is developing, to try to help people understand how dangerous this is. And you don't hear that in mainstream messaging about plant-based diets. You never hear the ifs, ands, and buts about vegan diets. It's safe if, it's safe, but it's safe, and so this is a very, very slippery slope. And I think people need to know what the risks are so that they can make informed choices.